The NBA playoffs motto used to be where amazing happens. And last night, Devin Booker and Darius Garland put together some amazing performances that might have saved their team's playoff chances. This is Hoop Talks. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Hoop Talks. Justin Pooni, Noor Zainab, Jelani Goodridge-Reid. And guys, exciting times in the world of the NBA. We actually have meaningful games. We have suspensions. We have drama. We have reunions, potentially. We'll touch on that in a little bit. But let's start off with the Ballers Club, of course, you know, hosted by me, the biggest baller of them all. And I want to give a shout out to...
Skip it, man. Skip to the point. Skip to the point.
This is my block. This is my segment.
But let us say nice things about you. Don't say nice things
some
about
nice things
you.
about myself too, because nobody else is. I might as well too. Self-love is the best type of love.
Self-love is the best.
Self-love is the best love. People always remember that. So let's start off in Cleveland, Ohio last night, where Darius Garland, ladies and gentlemen, went off last night. Darius Garland in a Game 2 win over the New York Knicks. He had, 32 points. 32 points. 7 assists, shot the ball 8 for 17, 5 3-pointers last night. Completely dominated the game from start to finish. The Cavs dominated this game. They played great. They really bounced back in a strong way. So, Jelani, I'm going to ask you this. We know Donovan Mitchell is the best player on the Cleveland Cavaliers, but he was, shot the ball a lot in game 1, took a step back. Do the Cavs need to have a more balanced attack, or do they really need to lean on Mitchell and Garland to score all the points?
I think they should have a balanced attack. That's what you would prefer, but I think they're definitely going to go through those guys, right? Because if you're looking at their offensive talent, that's where you're going to look at first, right? You're going to look at Mitchell. Of course, we know come playoff time, he does show up, and he has showed up since Utah days, right? And Garland, he's been ascending, right? Year after year now. We saw what he did. He was able to be an all-star already in his career, his young career, and he's a reliable option offensively. We saw that last night. So yeah, I would say definitely go through those two, because the Knicks, they're more of a all-around group.
Yeah.
All-around offense. But when you're looking at Cleveland, of course, you still got Mobley as well. Mobley could provide a spark too. But I think, yeah, if you're looking at the points specifically, you're looking at playmaking ability, you're obviously going to go with the guards for Cleveland. So we'll see how they play in New York. I want to see how it's going to continue in New York.
And quickly, before I throw it to you, another telling stat from last night was this, that Darius Garland was a plus 29 on the night. And I think that, to me, shows that he was putting the ball in the basket, but he's also not getting scored on as much as well. In your opinion, right, when you look at Darius Garland's game, what's the ceiling for this guy? Can he be, a preeminent all-star player, or does he need to, and a leader of a team, or does he have to be that second fiddle?
I think it's too early to say what his ceiling would look like, but I think we're on the right path where it shows you that he will amount to all-star. I'm sure he will. There's no way
he's been an all-star before, right?
Yeah, well, I think he's going to ascend to a level where he will lead a team for sure. But he's still young. But the reason why this works for them right now is not just because you have Donovan Mitchell being that, the offensive load of that team, but it's a very good spot for Garland to learn from someone who's like Donovan Mitchell, and to learn how to not just be a powerhouse in terms of scoring, but also facilitating. And it's really good to have that for a guy like Darius Garland, who's super young, to be kind of mentored and monitored by someone like Donovan Mitchell. And on the court too, if you're going to have the point of a basketball game is so that everyone's kind of involved a little bit. And if you don't have the involvement for everybody on the offensive end, now you're putting a lot of pressure on someone like Donovan Mitchell. And we know he can take it. We know he can still put up 38 points, 40 points, but that's not going to win you the game unless everyone's involved. And as you said, that's exactly what the Knicks are doing. Knicks offense is completely just scattered all over their roster. Even the bench guys are able to come up and put up points. So they're not going to be able to win any games unless you have contribution from everybody else, because in a series of 7, you also need to rest. And Donovan Mitchell can go off of 40 points every single night.
When you look at the New York Knicks, last night, Julius Randle was 8 for 20 shooting, right? Yeah. Again, we know Julius Randle, he's streaky, right? He goes on, he's very efficient, and then he goes cold. Jalen Brunson was 5 for 17. I expect them to play a lot better when they go to the Garden on Friday night. The other thing I want to give a quick shout out from that game was Caris LeVert. 40 minutes, 24 points, that spark plug off the bench. I think if the Cavs, if they want to win this series and make a run, they need Garland, they need Mitchell, but they also need guys like Caris LeVert, Chetty Osman if he could chip in or whatever, right? They need all these guys to chip in off the bench as well, because we know they're a top-heavy team. And lastly on Darius Garland, though, because I love when guys talk about being aggressive, especially in the playoffs. That's the time where you really want to be aggressive because the ebbs and flows of a series, you get down, can you get back up? This is what Darius Garland said post-game. He's like, everybody in the building told me to go be aggressive, go shoot the ball. I watched the film from the first game and seeing some opportunities where I can get mine and go be aggressive. That's what I wanted to try today. We tried and it's succeeded, excuse me.
Right.
And I think for Darius Garland, this could be a huge opening for this series because we know Donovan Mitchell's going to attract doubles. We know he's going to attract all the attention. And for a guy like Darius Garland, who's been an all-star, who can put the ball in the basket and also be a playmaker, this is a prime opportunity for him to really take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I think if you're looking at game one, right, I think after game one, someone probably spoke to him, like Bickerstaff, maybe it was Mitchell, spoke to him, said, yo, we need you to be that aggressor, right? We need you to get your own, right? Because we're not going to win. We're not going to get past the Knicks, who are a talented group. You know, they are a fifth seed, right? They're a good team. So they're going to need all hands on deck, of course. So I think somebody probably got into his ear and said, yo, just be you. Be you. Be the all-star level player or caliber player that you can
and
be.
I don't even blame him because I feel like if he was taking it easy the first game, he's like, well, my team has Donovan Mitchell. Why am I running the ball? You know, so it makes sense. But if you have someone coming up to you to be like, yeah, you got Mitchell, but we still need you, it means a lot. And I think you're seeing that happen for the Phoenix Suns as well, where not to take over already, but like just in terms of having second guys come through and be like, you know what, we need to provide offense from all ends and not have one guy.
We'll be talking about this.
Well,
I mean, it's happening everywhere is what I'm saying.
Well, we're a team here, so she lobbed it up, and of course, I'm going to finish it with the windmill dunk like that.
Jelani.
The Phoenix Suns last night, even their series against Los Angeles Clippers, 123-109, a big fourth quarter. They outscored them 31-22, and my guy, Kentucky's very own, Michigan's very own, Devin Booker. Not Kevin Durant, not Chris Paul, Devin Booker bounced back in a big way. He had 38 points. 14 for 22 shooting, 4 3-pointers, 6 for 6 from the free throw line. Also had 9 assists last night, which we don't get from Book a lot. We know he could put the ball in the basket, but to be the facilitator that he was, very big. And after struggling in game one, Devin Booker credits a certain something to his bounce back in game two.
It's never a good feeling. But yeah, I just got on Call of Duty and blew some steam off.
All he do.
Yeah.
All he do is play Call of Duty.
Forget what Mike Conley said, man. We got to play. We got to play. It was funny. Mike was talking. He was like, yeah, we can't be playing Call of Duty. Carl walked in the back. He was like, hey, Mike, you getting on? You getting on? That's our generation, man.
That's our generation, man. Now, kids, I'm not telling you if you had a bad day at school to forget your homework and play Call of Duty. Do your homework first, then play Call of Duty. But guys, maybe Call of Duty does work. Booker came back and had a great game, man. And I think we talk about Kevin Durant a lot, but I think Devin Booker it's his team. It's his city. It's his franchise, right? Kevin Durant's the best player, but Phoenix Suns are Devin Booker's team. And he proved last night, I think, when Devin Booker has that aggressiveness and he plays like that way, there's very few people that can stop him, right? And I think that's where the absence of Paul George kind of comes in because look, I saw Kawhi strip the ball from KD, take it to the other end of the court, dunk it, right? He's going to take that assignment. Kawhi's been balling out this series, right? But this is a prime opportunity. Similar to what I was saying about Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, Devin Booker is going to have a lot of opportunities here to take advantage and feast. And last night he did, Jelani, in a very big way.
Absolutely. You're looking at the fact that they couldn't really stop him from mid-range, right? He's a mid-range assassin, and that's what you want to see from him. And you brought up the point that is, it's huge in this case. There's no Paul George. And I think that's definitely could decide this series, of course, right? Because Paul, he's not just an offensive juggernaut. He can do it defensively as well, and his assignment would be D-Book. And we saw a different D-Book in this game compared to game one. That's why the Suns prevailed, because we'll talk about it a bit later, but like the bench, obviously there's questions there. So you're going to need these guys to step up. They play so many minutes. So yeah, Book, if they want to do anything in the Western Conference, he's going to have to be a guy that says, you know what, I have to be aggressive. I can't be passive, because you'll see KD get doubled often. So he's the next guy in line. He's the next scorer, right?
Yeah.
Chris can't do it. Ayton is inconsistent, so it has to be D-Book.
It made no sense to me to watch him. Like, it obviously was great to watch him be a defensive guy in the first game, but I'm like, it's not you, Book. What are you doing? Like, the point of having KD on your team now is not that you get to coast offensively. It means now you have help offensively. It means now you have multiple guys who can be a threat offensively, which also opens up guys like DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul and everybody else on the team. So I think that's what we need to see from Devin Booker as well. And that's why I went back to the point about the Cavs, where I'm like, but you guys like that just have to be told, hey, this is still your team as well. Yes, we brought on a star who we know is one of the best at getting the ball in the bucket, but we're not going to win anything unless the offensive load is being distributed throughout the whole way through. And for the Suns, they kind of need that because beyond their starting five, they don't really have a lot of help anywhere else.
Yeah,
and if no one else is scoring, like Chris Paul, how much is he averaging? 13 points? Is he,
He had a pretty good game.
He had what,
last
I think it
night,
was
but-
16 points last night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but like on the season, like
Yeah, I
he's
know.
not the offensive
Chris
guy,
Paul's not
right?
putting up 20 plus anymore.
No.
Yeah,
and they're gonna
and-
force him to take shots.
Yeah.
anyway,
Absolutely.
right?
And DeAndre Ayton's going to be at your best when he's going to be paired next to Chris Paul. So we're only really two guys that can get the ball in the bucket are KD and Devin Booker.
I mean,
and they
Torrey
have to
Craig
share
shoots the
load.
ball like
Yeah,
he did
Craig
5 for 8
legacy
from
game.
3-point range. That's not bad, right?
Consistently.
But I also want to show some love to Noor's guy Kawhi. 31
Yes.
points last night, 11 for 20. A very efficient night. Again, playoff Kawhi is here. When Kawhi Leonard is like this, we know he's top 5
different.
player,
Hey,
top
man, they
5
stole
player in the
one
NBA.
in Phoenix. And
But
that
also,
said
I
a
want to
lot.
give my shout outs to Russell Westbrook as
That
well.
was
And
a
he's
quick shout out
actually
to Kawhi.
highlighting this next segment of the Ballers Club where he and Kevin Durant kind of reunited post game. What a beautiful moment that was.
Love it.
As a guy who grew up watching these two play in Oklahoma City, and it was probably some of the best basketball memories I have,
For sure.
seeing these guys dap it up and kind of squashing that beef, it was beautiful, right? And Russ balled out. KD balled out last night too. Russ had 29 points. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, Russell Westbrook can still put the ball in the basket, all you haters out there.
Facts.
And of course, Kevin Durant scored his traditional 25, 10 of 19, shooting 0 for 4 from 3-point range, but still doing what he does best. But guys, how beautiful was that to see these two guys kind of dap each other after all they've been through, the cupcakes, the leaving OKC, the beef, the clapping back at each other. To me, it was a wholesome moment. I brought back a whole lot of memories when they were just highlight plays in Oklahoma City every single night.
Right.
And to me, it was beautiful to see that.
Yeah, I think even during the game, right? They had a little chat headed to the sideline, but yeah, man, the OKC thing obviously that was a different type of NBA. With those two playing with each other, I still wish they won together. But that's their fault for not getting it done.
I'm okay with them not because
Nah,
the best storyline of our fucking lives for NBA. You know?
I know it was so fun though. It was so fun
Yeah.
seeing them together. So
Yeah,
I think the beef off court, I think if they could just get rid of that, that's great for basketball. Obviously on the court, they're gonna still battle it out. That's what.
And
you
Russ
do,
has been
but-
playing KD hard, man, on defense.
Yeah,
He's
for
been making
sure.
him work
blocking
for
his
it.
shots.
I think that was probably one of the best beefs of our generation in the NBA with Russell Westbrook and KD. And it got to a point where you would think that there's no coming back from it because there was so much that was happening, not just with the fan bases, not just with the teams, but I feel like emotions were involved and people felt betrayed. And there were so many things that were happening behind the scenes that people were like, will they ever even be cordial together? Can they even be in the same room together? And seeing that happen now just shows the character and the growth in both of them, and that whatever we think them to be in the locker room, they're not those guys, and they obviously care about the people in their lives, and that's awesome to see. And I would have loved to see them win. I think it would have been amazing. It was watching them play basketball together was one of the best, I think, teams best duos I've ever seen play basketball together.
One of the best duos of all time. in
For
NBA
sure.
history.
But I am also selfishly happy that they broke up because it gave us, look at what happened afterwards. The
Yeah.
Warriors, Russell Westbrook, and him going head to head with KD now, I think is just some level of universe coming as a whole,
Well, that whole beef sparked Russell Westbrook to go. That to me was the best part. Russell Westbrook, following the divorce, went out there and won the MVP and average triple double. Right, great. But they're gonna be back at each other's throats in a couple days in Los Angeles when that series picks up. We'll be here to cover it all and break it all down NBA playoffs wise. This has been Hoop Talks.